low-income housing pricing that you have found since your discovery since July of last year, and what you found that the city provides for it?
Well, I've got, you know, plenty of boxes of goodies that I found, but there are some projects that are incredibly low income. I don't know whether that is by virtue of the fact that the people living in them are getting a double subsidy in effect, that they're on Section 8, which is subsidizing their income, as well as they're in a unit that has to have a below market income rent, kind of double dipping. That would be unfortunate if that has to be done in order to make the units affordable, because what redevelopment law says is when you use this money, you have to make the unit affordable, not dependent on another subsidy, but you have to make the unit affordable. So I've seen some monitoring reports have produced information that shows that the rents are incredibly low, but I'm yet to ascertain whether that is.
And what is low?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would depend. The agreements are different for different projects, but it might be, you know, it might be 30% of 35% of area median income. So, you know, that would be the maximum that could be charged. And when you talk about percents of percents, the person makes no more than a certain percent of area median income based on their household size. It's adjusted for household size. And they only pay, they pay no more than the kind of prototypical family size for like a 2-bedroom. Maybe they'll assume a 5-member family lives in a 2-bedroom. Well, maybe a 6-member family lives there, and they're paying what's affordable to a 5-member family. I mean, I didn't bring the charts to kind of show what the different affordability levels are, but I think, you know, that as I complete the investigation, you know, that will probably be something that's that I'll need to have, which is for each project, what is the range of affordability for 1, 2, 3 bedrooms? What do they assume for household sizes? What's the maximum that they can charge? And when you talk about affordable housing costs as well, if it's a rental, you subtract ownership too. You subtract a reasonable utility allowance, repair and maintenance costs, homeowner association fees, and that all that has to be subtracted down from the maximum so that the principal and interest or rent fits within it. You don't just go with the housing payment and then everything else goes on top. You make sure that all housing costs end up being affordable. Yeah.
I'm Barbara Nunley. I come from J.J. Mobile Home Park, and the senior was 55 and we had to go out because the owner of that park. Well, what happened, the city was nice enough to come up and give some of them a voucher who live in the city of Chula Vista, and I was on Section 8, so I'm okay on that. And I put them on Section 8, but the 4 years is going to be done in less than, about a year and a half. And I will not let them fall between the cracks because the city's got to come to the place they cannot pick up that Section 8. But you're talking about affordable. My income is about 13,000. Yeah, 13,000. That's all.
Yeah.
And these are low. It's considered 34,000. So it's a joke, really.
Right.
Where are the people going to go? We have a lot of mobile home people here, and all of a sudden, because they're put out, where are they going to go? They're going to get all the lights. And this is the major problem. What they have now is your chapter or your ordinance. It just has so many loopholes, and it's not going to save these people.
The inclusionary ordinance.
Everything.
Yeah, there's a citywide inclusionary ordinance, and but the redevelopment also has its own inclusionary requirement.
They know they apologize, but they could have saved us. Sure. But right now, what they're doing is they're sitting on their own hands again.
You've got how much time left in with the Section 8 assistance?
Yeah, that'll continue. But
that'll
continue. Yeah, we have the voucher here. Okay. The city is just for them, but that because of what he did when J. Bay was Chapter 11, overrided the city, state, and county. But what happens if anything, the city can't support the voucher, that's going to run out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in the city staff solution to us, I'm a mobile home owner, and the city staff solution to us was get on Section 8.
Yeah.
That's their solution. I'm not on Section 8. I don't want to go on Section 8. I can pay my own way. Just make something affordable.
Right. I think
affordable. I don't need Section 8.
Right.
And that's not a solution. You know, we don't need to be sucking off the government. You know.
I can say that the mobile home issue is a little more complicated than just a regular home ownership model, whether it's condos or single family, attached or detached, or rentals, because the mobile home, the owner owns the coach and may or may not own the land underneath it, and each time someone buys the park, they'll pay more money for it, and they'll want to depreciate their investment, and the costs will go up. And so the strange thing about the mobile home type of housing is that the agency or the city would have to continually subsidize the same mobile home park over and over and over again, because let's say you own your coach outright and you only pay for your space rent. Or let's say you've been paying on it for 10 years and you have less of a payment. If you sell that, the person that buys your coach from you will have a bigger payment. And then the subsidy will have to go up for them if they're the same income level as you are to make that unit affordable. So it's almost as if there would be all the money going into one or two parks and every successive owner of each space in it, or each coach on each space in it, to make that happen. In some cities like San Marcos, for example, I've litigated against twice, they have a $50 million revolving fund that they just use to do gap financing when people want to organize and buy their own park.
Oh,
So,
great.
They have this fund and they keep drawing down on it. It's a very expensive fund to maintain because while nobody's using it, they're paying debt service on it each month. And you know what debt service is. You, instead of paying cash for something, you take out a loan for it, so you owe the amount plus interest over 20, 30 years, which ends up being 2 to 3 times what you would have paid for it outright. And so here's this $50 million pool that cost $150 million from the housing fund. That money could have gone to build, to maybe find a community land trust for people with mobile homes so that would be affordable, do some cooperatizing of it, or help those purchases if they're going to change to owner occupied.
We don't have affordable housing, but what they
Yeah.
did build one for 46 people, that's not going to help the owner.
Right. Do you know how many mobile home spaces, I forgot to check that before tonight, how many mobile home spaces you have in Chula Vista now?
30, around.
30 parks,
32 parks.
30.
So probably, yeah, okay.
close to
Good
3,000
Good number.
spaces.
The
probably.
strong voting bloc, you guys are powerful. There's very well organized and powerful. So I'll leave that information and certainly sign up if you'd like to. I'll try and have a meeting within the next couple of weeks locally so that people can ask questions. I can share some of the information that I've received, and we could talk a little bit more about what the next steps might be.
Are you going to hand out the applications so people want them?
Sure. I'd be happy to, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to leave them and people can pick them up.